Welcome to this hands-on tutorial to help you build something that actually works. Whether you're just getting started with Flask or trying to make your web apps look modern and responsive without losing your mind in CSS, this guide is for you. In today's tutorial, we'll cover setting up a Flask project from scratch, creating a simple responsive website with Flask, integrating Bootstrap, building a clean, responsive homepage layout, creating a base template using Ginger 2, using Bootstrap components like navbar, cards, and grid system, and finally, folder structure overview. By the end of this walkthrough, you will have a working responsive Flask web app, and more importantly, you will understand how and why it works. Let's build this together, step by step. Let's kick things off by creating a basic Flask app. Nothing fancy yet, just enough to get our server running and ready for HTML templates. Here's what our project file structure will look like. Inside the app.py file, enter the following code. Here, Flask is a micro web framework we're using to spin up a lightweight server. Render_template is a Flask helper that loads HTML files from the templates folder. The /route defines what happens when a user hits the home URL. While debug equals true helps us during development, it shows helpful error messages when something breaks. Let's run it. In our terminal, run python app.py. There you have it. You probably see this error. This means Flask is working. It just can't find home.html yet. Let's fix that in the next step. Now let's build the foundation of our web pages using Ginger 2 templates and sprinkle in some Bootstrap magic. This is our layout skeleton. All other pages we plug into it. Inside the base.html file, enter the following code. Bootstrap via CDM is fast, easy, and no install required. These are Ginger 2 blocks, placeholders that other templates like home.html can fill. The meta viewport, absolutely essential. It tells browsers to scale the layout properly on phones and tablets. This is a secret sauce behind responsive design. So now we've got our layouts, it's time to build a home page that uses it. Inside the templates folder, open the home.html file. This is our actual home page. It inherits the layout from base.html and adds some Bootstrap flair. The Ginger 2 extends tag. Think of this as importing the layout structure. While here, we're now filling the placeholder defined earlier. This keeps everything neatly centered and padded. While this is classic Bootstrap 3 column responsive layout. The card tab is a beautiful way to wrap up content. Let's reload our browser and boom, you have got a clean responsive homepage powered by Flask plus Bootstrap. Next, we are turning our responsive Flask setup into something practical, a property listed app. Let's update our app.py file. Here, this is our web framework. It's like the director of the show, coordinating everything from incoming page requests to sending back response. The render_template, this is how we serve our HTML files from the templates folder. So when someone visits our site, Flask uses this to hand them the right page. Request is our spyglass. It helps us peep into what the user is sending, like form data when they submit something. While the redirect and URL_for are our post-action navigators. After a form is submitted successfully, we will use this to send users to another page, like thank you or listing page. The SQL alchemy is the bridge between Python and our MySQL database. Instead of writing raw SQL, we define Python classes and SQL Alchemy does the heavy lifting. It's clean, readable, and very Flask friendly. While this line kicks off our Flask app, you can think of this as this flipping power switch. Everything in our project will now run through this app instance. Routes, configurations, database settings, it all flows through app. Here, we are telling SQL Alchemy, hey, connect to this MySQL database I've got running locally. The username is root and the password is this. Note, you will want to swap out your routes colon password with your actual MySQL username and password. And the property underscore DB is the name of the database you have created or plan to create. Next, this tells our SQL Alchemy, don't track every single change in the database schema behind the scenes. It disables a noisy warning that's not relevant for our current project. Once the config is in place, our Flask app will know exactly where our database lives and how to talk to it. Next, we link SQL Alchemy to our Flask app. Think of it like plugging in a database engine so Flask can start driving your data around. Now that this connection is set up, we've unlocked the ability to define models, basically blueprints for our database tables. Add, update, delete, and fetch data, all with Python code instead of writing raw SQL. In fact, we've just given Flask database superpowers. Next, let's define the shape of each property listing in our app, a model that maps directly to a table in the database. Here, ID is a unique ID for each listing. Title is a short and sweet property title. Description is a long write-up about the property. The price is stored as a float, so we can handle values. While the image underscore file, this is different. We are storing just image file name, not a full URL. We will keep the actual image in a local folder /uploads and display it from there. Please note, in production apps, storing images on your server like this isn't ideal. It can slow things down and get messy fast. For re-apps, you are typically upload images to Amazon S3, Cloudinary, or Firebase storage, then save the URL to that image in your database instead. But for this tutorial, keeping it local makes things simpler and easier to understand. It is perfect for practicing without needing extra setup. Next, let's create our home routes. This is the most basic but super important route in our app. It tells Flask, hey Flask, when someone visits our root URL, show them this home.html template. Think of it like your front door. You are saying, welcome, come on in and check out the homepage. No fancy logic yet, just a clean way to render your homepage. We will spice things up soon with dynamic content and property listing. Next, let's view all the listings. Here we define the URL for viewing the listings. Property.query.all grabs every property from the database, while the render_template will send all those properties to the listing.html page using a variable called properties. Now our listings.html template will have access to every single property in our database, ready to loop through and display in style. Next, let's accept property submissions. This line includes a super useful helper function from Flask Werkzeug toolkits. When users upload files, they might have all sorts of file names, some with spaces, special characters, or even attempts to sneak in tricky parts like / or \. The secure_file name cleans up the file name, removes special characters, prevents security issues, and ensures consistency across platforms. Here we are accepting actual image files, not just URLs. The request.files lets us grab the uploaded image, while the secure_file name makes sure your file name is safe and clean. Then we save the file inside static/upload folder. While here, the app will use the file name to display the image later. Ensure your project has a static/upload folder created, otherwise Flask will complain when it tries to save the image. Don't forget, in real-world apps, storing images locally is not scalable. You had typically upload them to cloud storage services like Amazon S3, Cloudinary, or similar. But for this tutorial, local works just fine. Next, let's write the code to view single listing. Here, this means we are setting up a dynamic URL. Then that int column ID part grabs the number from the URL and passes it into our function as ID. The property.query.get_all404 tries to find the property with that ID. If it finds it, we are good. If not, it throws a 404 error automatically, no crashing or ugly messages. Then we render the listing_detail.html file, passing in that one specific property as property. So when user clicks on listing card, they get taken to a detail view just like a real estate site. Finally, on the app.py file, here this makes sure this block of code only runs if we start the script directly, not if we import it somewhere else. The db.createAll creates the database table only if they don't exist already. We wrap it in app.app_context to make sure Flask knows we are doing DB work inside the app, while the app.run launches the Flask development server with auto reloading on code changes and detailed error messages. Super helpful when building. Next, the base.html file. This file is the foundation for all other templates in our app. Think of it like a layout template that wraps every page with the same structure, so you don't repeat yourself. Let's walk through it. The block tag. This is where each page, like home.html, listings.html, etc., we plug in their unique content. This is like saying, hey, other templates, here is a space for you to drop your stuff in. Note, you don't need to repeat the head, body, or Bootstrap setup in every template. Just extend base.html and fill in your page-specific content. Clean and dry. Next, it's time to give our users the power to contribute their own property listings. This form is where it all begins, and we are designing it to be clean, clear, and functional. Let's break it down together. Inside the form tab, this little attribute is non-negotiable. Without it, the page data won't be sent correctly, and Flask will be left scratching its head trying to figure out what's happened. So think of it as your form saying, hey server, I'm sending files, prepare accordingly. Why this input tag is the headline of the listing, the first thing a user sees. Here we'll be using a test input with a required attribute to make sure no listing is left nameless. Next up is the price. And yes, we want to allow for cents too. That's why we include step equals 0.01. This tells the browser, hey, let's allow decimals because real estate doesn't always round to the nearest dollar. Here is where the magic happens visually. This input lets users upload a picture of the property, and we've limited it to just image types using this attribute, accept equals image/asterisk. Why? Because nobody wants to accidentally upload their resume instead of a property image. And in the little helper text below, we remind users the image will be stored locally. The text area tag is the storyteller's box. Here is where users can describe the property, talk about the features in the property. Next is the button tag. This will be a big green button. This button sends data to our Flask route so we can save it, store the image, and show it off on the listing page. And that's it. With Flask form handling, we are creating a user-friendly experience that looks good and works even better. Alright, let's create a simple homepage of our property listing app. This is where users land and first impressions matter, so we are making it clean, inviting, and packed with just the right features. Here we're using Bootstrap's navbar to give users a way to quickly get around. It's a light tint with some spacing and rounded corners to keep things modern. The anchor tag is our app's nameplate with a touch of emoji to give it charm, and this class makes it pop. This will add to the right two powerful buttons, view listings and add new listings. These buttons are styled to stand out and feel interactive. Next, we've got 3 info cards that shout out what makes this little Flask app special. Thanks to Bootstrap's grid system, this app adapts to different screen sizes like a pro, desktop, tablet, or mobile. It always looks crisp. Finally, for the listing_detail.html file, enter the following code. This line is key to making the app pull images correctly from our static upload folder. Here, this dynamically generates the proper path to the static file, so the browser can fetch it without hard-coded URLs. This keeps our image URLs clean, avoid errors across different environments like development or production, and works seamlessly with Flask static file routing. While this line is always good practice, improves accessibility and helps SEOs if our app becomes public. It can act as a fallback text in case the image doesn't load. Now let's run our app. If you've learned something new or have fun building this Flask property app with us, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel and let us know you are enjoying the content. And hey, subscribe if you haven't already. That way, you'll be the first to know when we drop new tutorials, tips, and full projects like this one. The full source code is available on GitHub. You'll find the link right there in the description below. Feel free to clone it, play around, and make it your own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.